Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, The Scent Diaries with Heather. So today we're going to be doing another body mist review, and then we're going to be continuing on my stories about my childhood. So the fragrance today that we will be talking about, first of all, please excuse how I look. It's just one of those days. I've been doing some cleaning, running around taking care of my kids, all that. So I just look a hot mess, and that's just what it's going to be. Don't have any makeup on, and I don't even care. So today we're going to be talking about Pure Seduction. Yep. Which is one of the core line scents for Victoria's Secret. And it is juice plum, crushed freesia, all night long, which they always put that like third little poem thing on there. I don't know why. But this scent is almost like a fruit punch. It's like a fruit bomb. I can smell the freesia, but it doesn't come off particularly floral. It's mostly just a super uber fruity. I've heard people say this scent smells like something a stripper would wear, and I can kind of see it a little bit. It's still good though. It's much better in my opinion than Love Spell. I have had Love Spell before. I actually gifted that to my sister-in-law because she wanted it for one, and it just wasn't one that I was in love with, so I was willing to let it go. That one's fruity too, but more of like a peachy, it's a different kind of fruit. This one's like uber fruity. It is a good summer scent. Like, I like wearing it. It's not one of my favorites. I doubt that I would repurchase it. And also something I noticed, I got some kind of defective bottle, and I didn't realize it until like it was too late, that it does not have the straw in it. I know you can't really see that. Hold on, let me see if I can get it. See, there is no straw. There's like the top there that you can kind of see, and then just no straw. And that's why I didn't notice at first, because for that first inch or so, it was spraying like normal. And then one day it just stopped spraying, and I was like, what is wrong with this? And I couldn't figure it out. And finally I realized there is no stinking straw in there to get the scent out. So yeah, I was just like, what in the heck? And I was like, did it dissolve or something? Like, what happened? And I was like, no, there's no way. It must have just been that, it was not in there from the manufacturing, so whatever. But I can still use it. I just have to put it upside down, and I still am able to spray it that way, which is so annoying, I know. But that's not like I would be able to sell it, like resell it on Macari or anything in this state, so it is what it is. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to like sell it or anything. I wouldn't bother giving it away either. But I don't like to trash things that still have, use out of them. So I just hold it upside down and I spray it. And I do use it as a room spray. Sometimes that's why I've gone through, most of it. But yeah, I don't think this would be a repurchase just because I'm not in love with it. I do like fruity scents, but for me, it's got to be like a gourmand fruity. I mean, well, I guess that would technically be gourmand anyways, because gourmand just means that it smells like something you could eat. But for me personally, it's got to be something sweeter. It's got to be like fruit and sugar, or, fruit and marshmallows or something like that, fruit and vanilla, for me to really be into that kind of scent. I do like fruity scents, but not just straight up like a fruit bowl, fruit punch sort of scent. So yeah, and that is available all the time. If that sounds like something that's good to you, wait till Victoria's Secret has one of their, however many for this much, like 5 mists for $40 or whatever. If you only want to get this one, then wait for like a, specific sale price where they do like mists for $6 or whatever. That's usually about the best you can get it from Victoria's Secret. I like Victoria's Secret, but they aren't as good with the sales. I've talked about this before. They aren't as good with the sales, the coupons, the rewards. They do have some coupons, but, and their scents are just harder to gauge. If you can't get in person to smell it, then you really don't know what you're getting, because like Bath and Body Works, if it says, I don't know, like blueberry pancakes, it's going to smell like blueberry pancakes. But Victoria's Secret's not like that. Like, it'll say like vanilla kiss, or, I don't know. I'm just saying, vanilla ice cream or something, and then it'll smell like flowers. So you really have to either be able to get in there and smell it, or you just have to, you know, be really into like florals and stuff, because I feel like most of their scents lean more florally or perfumey, you know. So if that's what you're into, then great. But yeah, that is Pure Seduction by Victoria's Secret, which actually Victoria's Secret and Bath and Body Works are owned by the same like parent company. So I don't know why they're like on totally different levels as far as like the, you know, accuracy of the scent names and the sales and all that. I don't know why it's so different for both of them, but that's just how it is. So yeah, I definitely prefer Bath and Body Works, even though Victoria's Secret feels like more luxurious. So yeah. Anyways, so hold on just one moment. Sorry, my son needed something. So now we are going to further talk about just the truly disgusting ways that I was treated growing up. Obviously not by my real mother, by my stepmother and my father. I am the firm belief that my stepmother is a narcissist and that my father was her enabler, and then I was the scapegoat. Like I said, we're not going to go in any particular order. If I try to do things in order, it would just be really confusing because I can't remember exactly how things happened. This is something that happened later on. So I had already had my first son. And like I said, you know, I had gone away to college, and our relationship, you know, hadn't been great, but since I moved out, things had improved, and I would actually come and visit them a lot of the times on the weekends, to hang out, you know, with my siblings and with my parents and everything, and things were great. It was like, because I wasn't there, that like we could get along, you know. I'm sure, you know, my stepmother was probably talking mad crap about me behind my back, but I wasn't having to live under the same roof as her, so things just, you know, were easier, and we were getting along. So, you know, I was with my son's father, and then we were having our own issues that I'm not going to really get into here. And so I ended up living with my parents with my son, when he was like 1.5, 2 or so. We stayed there for about a year, and that's when our relationship truly fell apart, because I was, you know, under their roof again. I did need quite a bit of their help because I didn't have a car. I wasn't getting child support, because I just hadn't, it was just not in the cards for me at that time. I did not have the resources to make that happen. I would have literally had to sue him, and, you know, he would have fought it, and it would have just been like a whole mess. He was helping me out a lot though. Like he would come pretty much like every couple days to like bring me any supplies or anything that I needed, and then he would have him like every other weekend or sometimes every weekend. It just depended on our work schedules, because I was working at Walgreens, and my work schedule is like changing a lot. It wasn't like set, so that really depended on, you know, when he would get our son and when I would have him, but most of the time he was with me. And something about me having a baby and like being stuck at the house a lot, not being able to go out and do my own things, so constantly being under their roof, just made them really start to hate me. It's something about narcissists. They're very easy to get along with on a surface level, for short periods of time, but if you live with one, the true colors come out, and like they can't handle the everyday life of someone being in their space. It's very bizarre. You know, they were constantly on my case about, how loud my son was being at night, which he was a toddler. I literally could not help that. You know, the fact that they would have to drive me to work, which they kind of made that harder because I was trying to save for a car. But I was dealing with some personal issues at the time. I'll get into that in a minute. But I was also having to pay them rent. And it wasn't a lot, but it was like I was literally paying like half my paychecks to them for rent. So I was like, all my money either goes to you guys, or, you know, I was having a bit of a drug problem at that time, which I hate to admit. You know, I'm sure that exasperated their, you know, anger at me, because they realized I was, you know, strung out, and which I'm not now. I've been clean for years, thank you, Lord. But that did present a lot of problems, and I totally understand that. Like, you don't want to be helping somebody who's on drugs, but like, I also was severely abused growing up, and I was having a lot of just, like postpartum depression, all of that. So it's kind of like, I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I'm also saying I'm not really surprised that I ended up doing drugs. Like, at all. That's not surprising to me. And, my dad and my stepbrothers and stuff would smoke weed and all that. And so I'm, it's not like they were completely doing nothing. And also, the golden child, my younger stepbrother, was just really bad off on cocaine. And, my stepmother, like, knew this, but was in denial about it. He still lives there. This happened years ago. My older son is 10 now. He still lives there. Like, she talked mad crap to me, basically calling me a loser, drug addict, that I was going nowhere in my life. Like, all this just hateful stuff. But, like, her son, who actually is, still, as far as I know from what I've heard, still on that stuff, has never tried to get off of it, has never even tried to move out, has never had a family, kids, nothing. Like, she's fine with him living there, and they pay for a lot of his things. Like, they weren't, for instance, like, they wouldn't even, when I was in high school, they would do these things, these like fundraisers, like powder puff football and all that. And it was, the kids would be how they raised the money. So like, you would have to pay like $3 and you could get out of class and go watch the powder puff football or whatever it was. There was different ones. But if you didn't pay the $3, you had to sit in study hall. And I mean, the whole school, literally the entire school would go. They would, make the like 10 people out of the entire school that couldn't afford to go, sitting in a study hall, which is crazy. It's like, to me, that's like punishing the poor kids. And my parents literally would not even give me $3 so that I could get out of class and like join my peers and have fun with the rest of the school. I was like one of those losers that had to sit in study hall because they wouldn't give me $3 freaking dollars. Or I would have to, a lot of times I would get my friends to give me a couple like a buck here, a buck there, and I would get the money to get it together. But they had these like semi often, and my friends couldn't always do that because, they were getting money from their own parents and everything. And then, my stepbrother, they bailed him out of every financial problem he's had. They'd fill up his truck with gasoline, like 70, 80 bucks at a time. So it's just messed up that they would like do that to me. And I promise you, my stepmother derived joy from it. She wanted me to be a loser. Like, she would intentionally make me buy clothes that were like so ugly, like Walmart tennis shoes and stuff, and then basically tell me that I'm conceited and I'm shallow for caring about what kind of shoes I wore. And she just did not treat her own children that way. To the point where for a while I would either have to, okay, so they would take us to, I know I'm like rambling, but I'm just like going on different tangents that I can remember. They would take us to Goodwill for back to school shopping, which is fine. I love Goodwill. Even to this day, I love Goodwill. But they would give me $40 to do back to school shopping at Goodwill. Like, you can't, $40 doesn't even do anything at Goodwill. A lot of those clothes were like, one shirt is like $7.99. So I could get like, maybe 5 shirts total and no pants, or like 2 pairs of pants and like a couple shirts. You know what I mean? That's not really, like, fine. That's better than nothing. But I got to the point where I was literally stealing clothes. Like in high school, I would go to the mall or go to the store and I would steal clothes because I either was just not given the money to get them whatsoever, or I was having to use my own birthday money to buy clothes for school. So yeah, that's just like, the environment I was raised in where, they gave me the bare minimum of what I needed, but they absolutely would not give me anything extra, and you think that you would be okay with that until you're surrounded by people who have better than you. And I'm not keeping up with the Joneses type, but I also don't want to be made fun of for having busted Walmart shoes and jeans that don't fit and clothes that look like I got them out of the Lost and Found. It's embarrassing, and like it still messes with me a little bit to this day. So yeah, they would do things like that all the time, just to where I was, turning into something that I wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have been a thief. I wouldn't have been a drug addict. I truly believe that I would not have had these issues had I not been like constantly demonized for just wanting to be a normal child. Like, I didn't have a cell phone and nothing. Like, I was one of the only kids that didn't have these things. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a cell phone. I couldn't, like, my friends would be going to the movies. My parents wouldn't even give me money to, like, go to the movies here and there. Like, I'm not even asking, like, for you to take me on a shopping spree or, like, you know, spoil me or anything, but let me, like, participate in society. You're forcing me to go to this school, but you're not letting me participate and be like a normal child in the school, you know? So yeah, it was bad. But anyways, back to what I was saying. They would basically use me being a mother as like a weapon against me. They knew that I had very low self-esteem, that I was having, you know, these drug problem issues, which when I moved back in with my parents, it kind of got lesser because I just didn't have access to it as much. It's very confusing. A lot of that time, I feel like I can't even really remember because I was just so, I was almost like an animal. Like, literally, I was almost like an animal. I was still a good mother. I made sure my child had everything he needed. I made sure he was loved. But I was also, like, emotionally checked out. And I wish that I could go back and, like, be more present in that time. You know, a lot of the times I was just so depressed that all I wanted to do was sleep. And you really can't be a good mother when all you want to do is sleep. You know, but I was still taking care of him, still making sure he had everything he needed. But they would literally try to make me feel like a bad mother. They would, like, constantly, like, act like okay, for instance, one time, out of the blue, literally, like, we were not fighting. There had been no, like, even tension leading up to this. This is the kind of people they are. I was just, you know, in my room, and I heard my dad talking to my stepmother, and for some reason, about me, I don't even know why, and he was like, she does not feed that baby. She never feeds that baby. And I'm just sitting there like, what are you talking about? Because for one, he was outside most of the time. He would, like, you know, he didn't have a job. My stepmother was the one that was working. And so he would spend a lot of the time out in his garage or out in the woods or working on cars or just something, I guess, to make himself feel busy. I don't even know. But yeah, so he was, like, outside most of the time. I was like, literally, you leave in the morning, you go outside, you, like, dick around in your garage, you come in and grab some food, and then you're back outside. And then you come in for dinner. How would you even know what I fed him or if I fed him or when I fed him if you're not in the house? And then second, when he was in the house, a lot of the times I kept food in my bedroom, which I wasn't supposed to do. Yeah, they were crazy about that. I would keep food in the bedroom, or I would go get my son's food and bring it back to the bedroom, or, you know, that side of the house, so I could literally be away from them. So it's like, because you didn't see it, so you think that every time that you don't see him eat, that he's just not eating. Like, what? Just because you don't see it does not mean that it's not happening. And furthermore, what is truly bizarre is their nickname for my son was Chunk, because he was such a pudgy little cutie patootie. His nickname was Chunk. I didn't nickname him that. You nicknamed him Chunk. That's what you called him. And then you're going to say that I don't feed him. How is he simultaneously fat enough to be called Chunk, but he's being, like, starved? And it would be different if he said something like that, like, in an argument just to be hurtful. But the fact that he just said it for no damn reason. And then I went out there and I was like, I can literally hear you talking about me hatefully. And, like, basically trying to make me feel like a bad mother for what? Like, what the fuck? You know, and he was like, you should hear that, you know, you're not taking care of that baby right and all that stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking? Are you, like, on something? Like, seriously, like, I've done drugs, but I've never acted like this. I've never just started randomly attacking somebody that when I wasn't even upset or, like, had a reason to come at them. You know, like, I actually do think my dad would. That's a whole nother thing. Like, something was not right with him. This one I'm saying is, like, I think he was possessed. Like, and we had a lot of spiritual experiences in that house, too, that would lead me to believe that he brought demons into the house. But just that type of vibe, just, you know, for no reason, literally attacking me, and attacking me in the most vicious way. Like, if you are a mom, you know what it's like for somebody to try to make you feel like you're not enough when your whole life revolves around your child. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's really messed up. And you can judge me if you want. You can believe my dad. I don't give a shit, because I know for a fact that I was doing everything I could to take care of my child, and that he was loved and safe and well fed to the point that he was a little fatty. I mean, everybody would comment on it. They'd be like, dude, that boy loves to eat. Like, obviously, yes, he does. He's got rolls on rolls. He looked like a little Hawaiian bun roll, you know? So just like what, like, it would be, it's almost crazier because it's like, if you would say things that had some, like, grain of truth in them, that I could at least, like, my mind could connect the dots and I could understand. But they would literally make up things that, like, weren't even true or even somewhat true just to hurt me or make me feel bad, and for absolutely no reason. And then sometimes it got physical. Like, I remember one time, this was in the same era, you know, when I was living at home, or, you know, with my son and all that. I don't think my son was there at the time. I'm pretty sure he was at his dad's house. But we had been sleeping in, like, the front bedroom off the corner of the house. And that was, like, one of the larger spare bedrooms. You know what I mean? And, my stepbrother's daughter was over. So, my stepmother's, you know, first real grandchild. My son is my dad's first grandchild. And then her son had a daughter that's a little bit older, which makes me mad because it's like she took the title of first grandchild when she's not even related to my dad. Like, my son is the first grandchild of our family. I'm the first one of the four of us main children who had kids. And I feel like that was, like, kind of taken from me because my stepbrother got some random girl pregnant that he doesn't have anything to do with. Yeah, so anyways, so I was sleeping in the bedroom, and they used this room. I had my stuff in another smaller spare room, but I would sleep in the bigger room, and that was kind of like simultaneously the playroom. But I would sleep in there because I was afraid to sleep in the smaller spare bedroom because there was something evil in that room. It was like my stepbrother's old bedroom, and, you know, I've talked about him before, you know, just creepy perv, and that room really freaking scared me. I'm not gonna lie, even as an adult, I was scared to sleep in there. So I was sleeping in the, you know, the play room that was my actual sleep room, and that, you know, that had been my brother and my younger stepbrother's bedroom the whole time we were growing up and everything. And my niece was over, and she kept running in and out and slamming the doors. And I didn't care that she was coming in there because it's the playroom. Like, I really didn't care all the toys were in there and everything. But I just asked her, I was like, could you please not, like, slam the doors? Can you not run in and out? Like, can you either just stay and play or, you know, leave? Like, one of the two, just not run in and out and slamming the doors. And because I asked her that, my stepmother was in, like, I guess she heard me, and she's in the living room talking mad shit. Like, that's the playroom, and she shouldn't be sleeping in there anyways, and my granddaughter should be able to use that if she wants to, and blah, 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 and, like, literally just being so vile and rude, and then she was telling my dad, like, literally lying to my father. She was telling my dad that, I kicked, my niece out of the bedroom, that I told her she couldn't come in there, and I shut the door on her. That's not what happened. I literally just asked her if she could stop slamming the door and not running in and out, you know, whatever one. Yeah, but I did not tell her she had to leave, and I did not slam the door in her face. And that's what this woman is telling my father I did, because he, I guess, wasn't around to hear it. And I went out there and I was like, you know, you're being a bitch. Like, I just said it. You're being a bitch. Like, you're sitting here, like, talking mad shit about me without, like, coming to me and being like, hey, could you not do that? Or, like, you know, even talking to me about it at all. You're just, like, out here raging right off the rip and saying things that weren't even true, that did not happen. And there was no conversation. She wasn't like, you know, well, that's what I heard, that's what I thought you did, or none of that. She literally just physically attacked me. I swear to God. She jumped up off the couch. First, she acted like she was going to go throw my son out of the house. She was like, well, oh, wait, I guess he was there. Was he there? I guess he had to be there, because she jumped up and was like, well, then y'all don't need to be in this house anyways, and was like acting like she was going to go get my son and throw him out of the house, my toddler. And I literally was like, if you touch my son, it's going to be the last thing you've ever done. And I guess because she kind of stopped, and I guess she realized, like, oh, I'm not going to put my hands on a child. But then she diverted all of her rage at me, which I guess is better. I wouldn't, if she touched my son, somebody would be dead for sure. But she diverted all of her, like, rage at me immediately and grabbed me by my hair and, like, pulled my head down and was, like, punching me with her other hand in the back of the head. Like, bam, bam, bam. I mean, like, full fisted punching me in the back of the head. So this woman just attacked me physically. And then I'm sitting there, my dad's just sitting on his ass, like did not get up, did not try to help me, nothing. And I'm looking at him like, are you not gonna help me? Like, she is physically attacking me. And he was like, well, if you try to call the police, that's not what I saw. I'm gonna tell them that you attacked her and she was defending herself. Like, literally looked me in my eye and told me that he would lie to the police if I tried to get her in trouble. Yeah, that's what this... I'm going to get angry thinking about it, because this man is supposed to protect me. I'm his child. And he's letting this evil witch put her hands on me. But, I mean, that's not really surprising, because he has put his hands on me before. So, like, abuse is not anything new to him. And, yeah, that was such a mess. And then after that, they kicked me out of that room and made me move me and my son into the tiny little closet space room that I was scared to sleep in, so that her granddaughter could have a playroom all to herself whenever she came over, like every other weekend, or, you know, twice a month, whatever the schedule was. Because my stepbrother only had her like every other weekend, and instead of taking care of her himself, he just like made his mom take care of her for the short periods of time that he was with his daughter. And somehow he's a great parent. I'm the bad parent. Yeah, okay. Like, my life revolves around my son. Your child doesn't even hardly see his own daughter, and somehow you're acting like he's a better parent than me. Like, move along. So yeah, it was things like that, like physically attacking me, for basically no damn reason. She just was an angry, evil witch. I know, I'm sorry, I should not cuss. I know that the Lord doesn't like that, and I shouldn't call people names, but like, this woman was a real piece of work, a true piece of work. And, you know, it just, there's a lot of other things that happened in between, but it was just them constantly trying to put me down, talking badly about me very loudly to anybody that would listen, trying to make me into the bad guy. It was like, I don't know if she just felt a lot of guilt about what kind of mother she was, you know, or something. I mean, I don't think she was that bad of a mom to her own kids, so I don't know where all this rage and guilt and mom shaming came from. You know what I mean? And her just taking all of that out on me because I was the easy victim. I was the victim that wasn't going to be protected by her own dad. If you're my own dad, it won't protect me. Then I'm a sitting duck because I don't have anybody in my corner to back me up or to help me or, you know, do any of that. So, and like, and just in case you're thinking like maybe it was me, maybe I was the problem. Like I'm self-admitting that I had a drug problem. For a small bit of time there. It lasted maybe, I don't know, like a couple, it would have been like maybe 2-3 years or something like that. It was kind of on and off because I was really trying to get my life right. But I was also so just depressed and had no self-esteem at all. And when you have no self-esteem, it's kind of hard to even care about doing better because you feel worthless, you know. And the one thing that was helping me get better was being a mother, and then to have even that, you know, degraded and thrown in my face. It was kind of like, if I can't even do this right, what's the point of even trying to do anything right, you know? But thank the Lord, I did eventually, you know, completely get clean. I've been off of that for years, you know. It was probably about that same year that I finally fully got off of everything. But that was through the power of the Lord, and the Lord restoring my self-esteem and my self-love. And I would not have been able to do that without God. There's no way, because, you know, He loved me in the way that my parents should have loved me. But in case you're wondering, like, were they really that bad? Okay, so these are the kind of people that we're dealing with. When my granny, my dad's mother, when she was old, you know, and getting on up in years, and couldn't really take care of herself too much easily anymore, he convinced her to sell her house, the house that, hold on. Okay, sorry. So, you know, my granny, when he's just going to be loud. I might have to go in the other room because I don't know why he does this every time. Okay. So yeah, my granny was getting on up in years, The house that she was living in, my dad had been born in, I believe, or very close to it. She had lived there for, pretty much like, it was like 50 years or something. And she did not want to leave this house. She wanted to die in that house. She had no desire to leave, even if she couldn't take care of herself. Like, that was her home, and she was planning on dying there. Well, they convinced her, talked her into selling the house and moving in with them so that they could help take care of her. So she finally gives in. She finally moves in with them, and she was only there about a year before they kicked her out. His mother, because she couldn't get along with Teresa. Teresa can't get along with anyone, especially other women. And something to do with money. Apparently she had offered to loan them money, but then kept asking for it back, or when are you going to pay me back, kind of thing. Which, honestly, that was just their excuse. They wanted a reason to talk bad about her, to demonize her and make it her fault that they kicked her out. When it was really because she wasn't kissing Teresa's ass, and Teresa just didn't like having to deal with someone else in her house that wasn't her son, or she has a thing for boys. Like, her son's friends, it's creepy how she acts towards them. Like, she acts like she's damn near willing to sleep with them. And she does not like other girls, and she makes that very clear. So they kicked her out and pushed her off on my uncle, who was dying of leukemia at the time. And they literally were just like, come get her. We don't want her. If you don't come get her, we're just throwing her out. Like, his own mother. And she was only there for like a year. It wasn't like this was years into it and they finally got fed up with her shenanigans. Like, no, they convinced her to sell her house only to throw her out of their home and pawn her off on his dying brother, and then proceed to talk shit about his own mother to the entire family about the money situation and trying to make it her fault that they kicked her out. So if you are questioning what kind of people these are, and if maybe I just was, a hellion that had a lot of, issues or whatever, that they just couldn't handle, no. I mean, if you're willing to treat your own mother that way and your own daughter, like, there is nothing you are not willing to do. So yeah, that is just, it gets deeper and deeper, and I'll go into the other times that I was physically attacked. It was not just that one time. That was probably one of the most aggressive. And the other times it was my dad putting his hands on me. That was the first time that my stepmother, that I can recall, had actually put her hands on me. And it was literally basically for nothing. She just snapped and lost her mind, and she's kind of a, like, she's a strong gal, let's just put it that way. So I had no chance of fighting this woman. It was just not going to happen. And then I have my dad literally saying that he's willing to knowingly lie to the police about how that argument went down. And the police don't give a crap if they come to the house because there was a scuffle going down and the two adults in the house are saying the same thing. They're not going to do a full investigation to see if they're narcissistic liars that are trying to, hurt someone else or trying to get out from under the blame. They're just going to go with, well, two people said it, like, must be right. You got to go, or we're taking you, whatever. So yeah, I knew for a fact that I wouldn't, if they did call the police or if I tried to call the police, that I was not going to be listened to, that I was not going to be believed. So I didn't bother, even doing anything about it. I didn't try to, defend myself. I didn't hit her back, nothing like that. And you know what? One day she's going to have to face the Lord, and she knows deep down how she treated me. So regardless of whether other people believe it, it really doesn't matter. The truth always comes to the light eventually. And one day she's going to have to face, the Lord, my Lord and Savior. And, he has not been known to be kind to people who have treated his children wrong. So we'll just, see how that plays out. But thanks, y'all. I'll be back with more stories as soon as I can.